chosen one, listen closely. This is not a random moment. This is not background noise in your day. If you are hearing this right now, it is because heaven arranged it. There are seasons when God speaks loudly, and there are seasons when he speaks through restraint. You are entering a season where silence is not weakness, it is authority. You have explained yourself long enough. You have tried to clarify, justify, defend, and prove who you are to people who were never assigned to understand you. And God says stop. Not because you are wrong, but because 2026 will do the defending you were never meant to do yourself. There were moments you felt pressure rising in your chest, moments when accusations, spoken or silent, pressed against your spirit. You replayed conversations in your mind, thinking of what you should have said, how you could have explained better, how you could have made them see your heart. But the truth is, this discernment cannot be taught to those who refuse to see. And God never asked you to convince blind eyes. He asked you to obey, to endure, to remain aligned while he prepared a public answer. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not misunderstood by heaven. What felt like being overlooked was actually being hidden. What felt like silence from God was actually separation. He was removing you from rooms where your voice would have been wasted. He was extracting you from cycles where explanation kept you entangled. And now, as 2026 approaches, the rules are changing. You will notice something shift. The urge to explain will fade. The need to respond will weaken. And instead, peace will take its place, not because things suddenly make sense, but because you finally trust who is fighting for you. There are people who thought your quietness meant guilt. They mistook your restraint for fear. They assumed your patience was submission. But they misread you because they misread God. You were silent because you were instructed to be. You stepped back because heaven said, "Let me handle this." And what they did not realize is that every word they spoke against you was being recorded, weighed, and scheduled for exposure. God does not rush justice. He times it. Chosen one, you were never meant to win arguments, you were meant to outlast them. And you have. Through the confusion, through the delays, through the loneliness of being the only one who could feel what was coming, you stayed. You didn't harden your heart. You didn't abandon your values. You didn't compromise your calling just to be understood. And now the season of defense begins. Not loud, not chaotic, but undeniable. In 2026, people will start revisiting old conversations with new eyes. They will remember things you said that didn't make sense back then, but suddenly click. They will notice patterns they once ignored. They will see how you stayed consistent while others shifted. And without you saying a word, truth will rise. That is how God defends his chosen. He lets time testify. There is someone listening who has been labeled unfairly. You were framed as difficult, distant, arrogant, or unstable simply because you refused to perform for approval. But hear this clearly, you were protecting your anointing. You were preserving your oil. God was teaching you that not every room deserves your explanation, and not every question deserves an answer. Some things are clarified by results, not responses. You may feel a strange calm settling over you lately. Situations that once triggered you no longer have the same grip. That is not numbness, that is maturity. That is the sound of God saying, "You don't need to speak anymore. I've taken over." When God steps in as your defender, he does not ask for your assistance. He asks for your trust. There were nights you prayed with tears because you wanted to be seen correctly. You asked God to clear your name, to show your intentions, to reveal your heart. And God heard every prayer, but he also saw something you couldn't. He saw that defending yourself too early would have delayed your elevation. So he waited. He let the misunderstanding stretch. He let the false narratives grow. Because when he finally corrects the record, no one will be able to deny it was him. Chosen one, do not confuse delay with denial. You are being positioned. The silence was strategic. The isolation was intentional, and the restraint you practiced is about to be rewarded. In 2026, doors will open that require no explanation. Opportunities will come with no interviews. Favor will locate you without introductions. And the same people who questioned you will watch from a distance as clarity arrives, too late for them to interfere. This is why God told you to stop explaining. Explanation invites debate. Defense invites conflict. But destiny does not require permission. When God decides to lift you, He does not pull the room. He moves. And when He moves, things align quickly. You will look back and realize that the very silence that frustrated you protected you from saying something that would have tied you to people who were never meant to go with you. Pay attention to who falls quiet when you stop explaining. Some only stayed because they enjoyed the access. Some only questioned you to keep you small. When you no longer feed that cycle, they lose interest. Let them. You are not losing connections, you are shedding distractions. There is a shift happening in your spirit right now. A release. A letting go. You are realizing that you don't owe clarity to those committed to misunderstanding you. God is not offended by your quietness. He is pleased by your obedience, and He is preparing to speak on your behalf in ways you could never orchestrate. In 2026, your life will answer questions your mouth never could. Your stability will confront the rumors. Your peace will silence the accusations. Your progress will correct the assumptions. And your consistency will expose the lies. You will not need to announce it. You will not need to point it out. God will handle the contrast. Chosen one, stay steady, stay aligned, stay silent when instructed. This is not retreat, this is transition. You are moving from being questioned to being consulted, from being doubted to being trusted, from being overlooked to being watched. And when the defense begins, it will be so precise, so undeniable, that even those who opposed you will know better than to speak again. You are not late, you are right on time. And the God who told you to be still is the same God who will stand up for you. Let Him, chosen one, as this next phase unfolds. You need to understand something deeper than reassurance. You need revelation. The silence you were guided into was not just about protection. It was about preparation. God was not only shielding you from unnecessary battles, He was recalibrating your spirit so you could carry what is coming next. Some of you were still trying to be understood at a level you were already outgrowing. And if God had allowed you to keep explaining yourself, you would have anchored your future to people who were only meant to know your past. There is a spiritual law at work here. When God is about to elevate someone, He often allows misunderstanding to intensify right before vindication. Not because He enjoys the discomfort, but because separation is required. If everyone understands you, follows you, agrees with you, then the line between assignment and attachment becomes blurred. God needed to see who could walk away when you stopped explaining, because those who stay only for access cannot go with you into authority. You may have noticed how certain relationships faded when you stopped over-communicating. Conversations grew shorter. Invitations slowed down. Support became conditional. That was not rejection, it was revelation. God was showing you who needed your energy to feel important and who could respect your boundaries without explanation. In 2026, you will not have the capacity to carry emotional weight that does not belong to you. So God started lightening the load early. There are things happening behind the scenes that you cannot see yet. While you were quiet, God was rearranging narratives. While you were still, He was shifting perception. While you were misunderstood, He was allowing truth to mature. Truth does not need urgency, it needs timing, and the timing of your defense is approaching. Some people assumed your silence meant you had nothing to say. Others thought it meant you agreed with what was said about you. But heaven heard your restraint as obedience. You could have exposed things. You could have corrected lies. You could have defended your name. But God whispered, "Leave it." And every time you obeyed that instruction, something was added to your spiritual authority. You were being trusted with more. Chosen one, not every battle is meant to be fought with words. Some battles are won by endurance. Some victories come through consistency. And some breakthroughs are unlocked only when you refuse to react. You were not passive, you were disciplined. You were not weak, you were discerning. And now, You are stepping into a season where your presence alone will speak louder than any explanation ever could. In 2026, people will start approaching you differently. The tone will change, the energy will shift, questions will replace accusations, curiosity will replace criticism, and you will realize that God did not just defend you, He repositioned you. The same people who once felt comfortable questioning your motives will now be cautious with their words. Not because you confronted them, but because something about you feels established. You are entering a season where God allows results to speak first. Your consistency will confuse those who expected you to break. Your calm will unsettle those who thrived on your reaction. Your growth will challenge those who assumed you were stuck, and you won't have to point any of it out. God will allow contrast to do the work. There is also a warning in this moment. When God defends you, He does not always restore access. Some people will realize too late that they misjudged you. Some will feel conviction but never apologize. Some will want proximity again once clarity arrives. Be discerning. Vindication does not mean reconciliation. Sometimes God clears your name so you can move forward unburdened, not so you can return to what drained you. You are allowed to grow beyond the version of yourself that needed validation. You are allowed to mature past the need to be understood, and you are allowed to let God close chapters without explaining the ending. In 2026, your assignment will require focus, not justification, alignment, not argument, obedience, not over-explanation. There is a strength developing in you that does not announce itself. You no longer rush to respond. You no longer feel the need to prove. You no longer chase closure. That is not detachment, that is spiritual grounding. You are rooted now, and rooted people are not easily shaken by surface noise. Some of you will witness sudden reversals. People who spoke confidently against you will grow quiet. Situations that seemed stuck will resolve without your involvement. Doors you didn't knock on will open, and you will realize that God has been working long before you saw movement. This is why He told you to rest. This is why He told you to trust. This is why He told you to stop explaining. Chosen one, your life is about to speak in chapters, not sentences. And chapters do not pause to explain themselves to every reader. They unfold, they progress, they reveal meaning with time. Let your life do the same. Stay aligned, stay obedient, stay grounded. As 2026 unfolds, remember this: the same God who asked you to be still is the God who will not allow injustice to have the final word. Your silence was not surrender, it was strategy. And the defense that is coming will not be loud, but it will be lasting. Remain steady. You are not forgotten. You are not unseen. And you are not unprotected. God is with you, and He is not finished.